Parents, please find a way to relate to your children. Get to their interests, see what they like, and try to do it with them every now and then. You'll be surprised how that 5 minutes of connection will play on them. Men, I know you may have been told that being loving and sweet or sensitive was weak or made you soft or punk or gay, but you first have to detach from this homophobic way of thinking in this society, and the fact that being gay is bad. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, is that's your superpower, that's your strength, that's your God connectivity, that's your divinity, your ability to love. God, to me, lives in the heart. That love, that unconditional compassion, unconditional love is the power. But it starts within first. You have to connect with it. I honestly suggest getting like some rose quartz, clear quartz, and selenite, and a candle, and put some intentions in there that it brings you love, divinity, and connection to God, and pure compassion. Set your own intentions, but do these things because I am a living proof that I got such an awakening, heart awakening, and like enlightenment from doing that within overnight. So there is power in intentions, there is power in love. Women, I know a lot of times, because it's acceptable for us to show emotion in that way of nurturing and love, because as a mother, there's this misconception that, a mother's love is different, yada yada yada. There's always this differentiation between male and female, masculine and feminine, when we all have those energies within all of us, no matter the body or gender. But anywho, so as women, a lot of times the things that we've been accepted or allowed to do, we feel so controlled by it because we live in a sexist patriarchal society that it becomes almost an obligation or expectation or a job, and that takes the genuine quality out of it. Because think of anything that you love to do. Once you start making it like, I have to do this or yada yada yada, it kind of takes the fun out of it. Like cooking, like you may love to cook, but once it becomes like, now people don't eat if you don't make the meal, or oh my god, I have to, I'm so tired, but I gotta cook. It takes the love out of it. It takes the fun out of it. Get back to putting passion into the things that you love. The passion is the love. That's why they say follow your passions. It's basically saying follow your heart, follow the love. Don't chase it, be it, and attract it. But that's all I wanted to say for now. I will do a video more detail with that, especially when it came to bonding and how my son, who's yelling for me now, taught me how to love, and how I was rejecting him at first, and postpartum depression. Bye bye. A continuation is basically, the moral of the story is, I was, just looking at my son, and I started singing him a song, and I just wanted to give him a hug and just embrace him. And it's like, I want to give him so much gratitude. I don't have to do anything. If I spank him, if I yell at him, if I do this, he still wants to come to me despite all of my emotions, despite all of my moods, despite the soft emotions versus the hard emotions. And it's like, I want to just give him that reciprocity in exchange. I want to love him when his behaviors and his moods are difficult. I want to love him when his behaviors and moods are, to me, acceptable or tolerable. And it's like, not putting him in the box and not making him feel like only when you're this way are you going to be accepted by me. Only when you're this way are you going to be loved by me. No, I want him to know that he's going to be loved by me regardless, while I still instill in him the boundaries and the self-respect and the respect of other people's free will and personal space. That's really all I care about. He is free to do whatever he wants in life, as long as he keeps in mind that moral compass of, is this affecting someone else's boundaries, personal space that they have laid grounds for, or is this hurting someone's free will or someone physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, just having those kinds of things in mind, but while being himself, not dimming his light, not changing himself to make someone comfortable if it's not something that is physically harming to them. So for instance, like, let me be quiet because they may think I'm too loud. Now, baby, no. Be yourself. If you're loud, then be loud. Yes or no. I love you, Bubs. You're so funny.
Can you take it right up?
But yeah, that's all I want to say is just that my son has unconditional love for me, and I have unconditional love for him. I'm loving him no matter what.
Down and down. It's going down.
Oh yeah, you can see the voice going up and down. The little I forgot what those called. Like the waves. Like, let's try something. Just be real quiet and see if the waves stop. You see how it got lower? But it still could hear the birds outside. It's pretty cool, huh? All right, guys. So I was just kind of thinking, and I was loading up my stuff in my car to go to my mom's. We're going to go to San Antonio for a little family vacation. And I was thinking about, not thinking about, I'm sorry. I'm driving and my son's sleeping in the back seat of the car. But yeah, so I was thinking about, I was telling him, hey, you want to get this and put that in the car, and just give him little stuff to do. And I started doing that with the groceries and stuff. And I just started thinking, I'm like, moms, dads, but coming from my perspective, moms, for your sons, I need you to just really sit with yourself and think about, what do you want your child to be when they grow up? What kind of man do you want them to be? What kind of father do you want them to be? What kind of spouse do you want them to be? What kind of citizen do you want them to be? And it's like, ask yourself, is your environment cultivating that type of goal? Is your relationship cultivating that type of goal? Is your parenting style cultivating that type of goal? You know what I'm saying? It's like, this isn't a judgmental thing. This is all with grace, because I've come a long way myself, and I'm still growing, and I still have my, hiccups. But, there's just so many things I've learned in motherhood, and I don't have my notes with me, so I can't really go into depth. I may have to make part 2s, part 3s. There may be like segments and series to the motherhood journey, which I'll be doing like all kinds of journeys and like all aspects of my journey and doing like series on them. But for the motherhood, like, think about it. Like, I know for me, my intentions is that my son always knows that his mother loved him and did the best that she could. I want him to understand what reciprocity is, and to know that, and to respect energy, you know what I mean? And like, value what his partner is bringing to the table, whether it be a man or a woman. I'm not trying to be discriminatory or anything, but whatever lifestyle he has, just understanding like the value of his partner, and just not being manipulative, and learning how to express his emotions in healthy ways, learning how to have a sturdy foundation of who he is, and not allowing other people to, sway him to be a certain way. Like I told him, I always say, like, oh, say you like race cars, and you hang with this group, and this group's like skateboards or whatever, and they feel like, oh, you can't be liking race cars. We a skateboarder clique. If those are your friends, and you feel like you got to start doing skateboards now because that's what they like, no, I'm gonna need you to move around, because a true friend, the real ones, are not gonna try to sway you. Yes, they're kids, but I want him to establish that now, and just to be good with it. Sometimes you got to go on your journey alone, then that's okay, because the right people are going to start gravitating you. The people who actually take you for who you are and allow you to unfold and grow and flourish on your own level, on your own pace, and just be who you want to be. I want him to be, he doesn't necessarily have to be so traditional and do this gender roles, but I do want him to have some sort of chivalry, you know what I'm saying? Like romance, or being sweet, like being balanced within that divine masculine and feminine energy with that reciprocity, like, being able to help, but also being able to receive help, being able to be at a place where he can be vulnerable and, ask for help, cry if he needs to, get therapy if he needs to, just all of these things. So this is something I feel like as moms we are being called to do, is to like really just contemplate, meditate, just really visualize the life that we want our children to have, sons, daughters, whatever, I'm just saying sons because this is my perspective, but tweak up the information to fit you. take the message out of it and let it resonate with your soul. Come into any video of mine with the intentions that, you know, you stay true to your path and your soul, and that this doesn't turn into influence or consumerism, that it's just about getting the gems that you need to pick and choose. You know, it's like going to a farmer's market. You just picking a little bit of blueberries, picking a little bit of strawberries. Maybe you don't need watermelons today. So it's kind of like that with the information. Take everything with a grain of salt from any vessel, from any channel, from any person, because we have a conscious mind and we have our own subconscious and experiences that can possibly put us in a place of compromise or bias. So you have to use your own discernment and your own, basically good judgment to see whether something is speaking to you or not. But deep down, you know if something's speaking to you or not. And don't think because it irritates you that it automatically isn't speaking to you. Sometimes the things that irritate or trigger us are the things that we really need to look into. Doesn't mean it's fact, but it does mean it's something that we may need to look into. But yeah, I just want to put that out there. I will do more videos on motherhood, because that's kind of like one of the first things that I did when I started my spiritual awakening journey was wrote like a whole 2-page blog about motherhood. It's like it just woke me up. Like motherhood is what sparked my spiritual awakening journey. Honestly, that was like the first thing I did that was empowering to me, was get back to writing, which was something that I had stopped doing because I allowed someone to infiltrate my energy and my spirit with negative racial, talk. And it just killed my spirit on that. So I gave that up, even though I'm really good at it. But anywho, yeah, guys, I will be doing another video once I get my notes, so I can really just kind of get into some other things and some tips and some other solutions for like moms, because we need a lot of support. Dads too, but I'm, like I said, my perspective. But all right, guys, as always, someone who cares, the spiritual activist. Peace, love, and light, and healing energy. Peace out. Rise and shine your light and opulence, my solution seekers. This is your girl, the spiritual activist. And today I want to talk about motherhood. So like I said, as my purpose in life unfolds layer by layer, being a multifaceted being, there's many aspects to me as a person. I have many labels, roles, and responsibilities, but I don't identify with them. But I know that they are part of my worldly journey to master and to teach, with all the trials and tribulations, with all of the challenges that they may bring individually. And so, like, for me, I'm a woman, I'm Black, I'm a mother, I'm a partner in a committed relationship, and so with all of those come individual challenges and things that we go through in life, that I've been called as an individual messenger to, go through, persevere, triumph, and share what I've learned and how I reflected on these things. Like I said, I don't identify them because I know all that I truly am is a child of God, love, and light. Everything else is a layer of this world that we're here to transcend, which is get past to ultimately come back to who you are, which is a child of God. It's like these things are not to be so, how can I say, concrete or solidified that you feel like that's all you are, and that these things are the only thing that define your worth. When you allow the things that this world has labeled you as define your worth, you're going to constantly be in a state of insecurity, vacant esteem, low self-worth, low self-love, because these things, when they let you down, you take it as a direct shot to who you are. And that's when you have to go back and anchor and recenter back into, like I said, you are ultimately only a child of God. That is the only thing you have to identify with. That is why you are innately born worthy. No one, no thing, no label, no responsibility, no job, no accolade, no credential, no money, car, house can give you value. You have to cultivate that value and self-love and self-worth and esteem within yourself. Just constantly reminding yourself of who you are, which ultimately is, like I said, I'm going to continue to say this. A lot of my stuff I will repeat in videos because to you, for a person that may watch all my videos, it may get redundant. But for a person, I have to also consider that everybody's not going to listen to a motherhood video. Everybody's not going to listen to whatever other videos. So if I feel like something is truly a gem and tried and true, it may come off as a cliche, but it's not. Cliches, believe it or not, have so much meaning. And I feel like the fact that they get overused and trending and people, don't want to feel like they're being trendy, steer away from gems and true messages that are tried and true, and because they don't want to seem cliche. But I'm going to be as cliched as I want to be, because I know that those words and those messages are rooted with value, and they never fail you, really. So yeah, I will continue to repeat things that I feel like is important. But getting on to, I was reflecting a lot on motherhood, and I've reflected a lot on this in my whole journey since I've started, really trying to embark on my spiritual awakening journey, and just really intentionally healing and just trying to better my life and evolve and change and for the better. But my motherhood was started off my whole journey. I was going through a lot of things. I didn't really know what they were, because sometimes I feel like the ego wants to label everything like this society does. But I guess you could say it's, teetering on depression, postpartum depression, maternal burnout, losing yourself in motherhood, all those kinds of things, midlife crisis. But in the midst of, getting past those, what I deemed as failures, are, like crossroads and roadblocks, I realized that I was going through a situation where how can I say this? What I was conditioned or feel programmed or saw as what a good mother is, I decided that was not the life I wanted. And a lot of times in life, I feel like there comes a point where we grow. The only constant is change. And sometimes as we evolve, things that we used to do or used to love or that made us happy no longer do. And that can be very scary, because it's like an aspect of you is dying. And it is. But death is very essential in transformation. You have to allow the old to go so that the new can have space to be born. And so, I was letting go of the fact that I may not be the exact type of mother my mom was. I love my mother and I respect her dearly, and I know everything she did was out of great intentions, and I really appreciate her for that, because she really did cultivate a person who has a pure, genuine, loving heart. And everyone who knows my mom, knows that, like, she's so sweet, and so is her mom. They call my grandmother, all of her great nieces and nephews call her Aunt Honey, because she's so sweet. So, my family, I feel like our superpower is the love that we have. And I am kind of ranting because I kind of just go with the flow with what comes on my heart. But back to motherhood. So I started realizing that, what I felt was deemed as the only way to be as a mother was no longer serving what I wanted to be as a mother. I pride myself in cultivating a loving, great citizen, great person. But there's things that I may do differently that I feel like my parents didn't do. Not to say that what they did was wrong, because they did what I needed for my own journey to cultivate me to be who I am right now. But I truly believe that every generation is about improving and evolving. It's not about looking back on your parents and saying, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, and having resentment for them. But it's about seeing them as individuals and humans who had their own experiences that created who they were as people, and appreciating and respecting and having compassion for that. And just, that's what I feel like is a transmutation, is, turning something negative into positive. Things that you may have perceived as negative or whatever, or dysfunctional, try to get past those to see, the positive things. Choose to focus on the positive, not the negative, because at the end of the day, look at who you are as a person. Are you a good person? Are you a loving person? Is your heart hardened? Do you love family? Is family important to you? If so, then apparently they did something right. A lot of times because our mind is very negatively centered, we tend to focus on the negative, which in thus encapsulates us in nothing but negativity. And that's why our mind is so quick to assume the worst and worst case scenario and just so negative, bitter, and resentful. But I'm on a mission of practicing positivity. To me, God is love and light. So that's what I want to exude as much as possible. Not saying that you have to be positive or what we deem as happy 24/7, but it means that I don't allow people to try to take my energy. You know, I allow myself to have my feelings and emotions, but I allow them to pass. I allow myself to feel them and pass and not identify or attach to them. Going back to anchoring, like I said, to what I am, which is a child of God, love, and light. I'm perfect already. The things I go through here are just, to help me learn the lessons that I need to do. Once I learn the lesson, move on. Don't attach to it too much. Don't overthink it too much. But yeah, so I realized, like, with my son, I look at him as like a individual, a mini adult. So I have a huge respect for him, and I don't always just say, because I said so, or because I'm grown. I give him the why. I answer those questions. I try not to allow him to just, see the struggles that I go through. I am trying to pursue an entrepreneurial career, as a mother, not just for me sacrificing my individuality as a woman in, my relationship or in my role as a mother, creating balance. Like I said, everybody's journey is different. There's many paths back to home. My journey has been echoed over and over about balance. And a lot of you may resonate with this, but especially for mothers, I'm going to do a lot on motherhood because I feel like there needs to be more of a dialogue and more of a voice for mothers. And so that, people can have more empathy and compassion for us and really appreciate what we do to bring forth life in our children, and not see it as, necessarily an obligation or like, well, that's what you're here for. That's your only, it's natural to you. And, also normalizing or redefining fatherhood. My son's father, I feel like he's one of the most, how can I say, open-minded men that I know. He's willing to hear me out and, do different things to improve and better himself as a father, as a man, and as well as us. And that's why I said a lot of times I haven't made that video yet about pride in that sense, but sometimes we have to humble ourselves and quiet that ego and that pride to allow us to just learn the lessons that we need to learn. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, like, just realizing that a lot of things about myself are changing as a mother, and that was so hard. I had such an inner critic. But yeah, I had such an inner critic, and it's the voice of the judgment that, oh, you're a bad mom. You don't do this, you don't do that. You don't make breakfast every day in the morning. You don't make this full-fledged. I'm like, I had to be realistic. Like, you're also, your mom was able to do things that you can't because you're trying to do something else that she didn't do. You know what I mean? You're trying to be a full-time entrepreneur, but balancing that, with family life. And so there's things that you're not going to do. So a lot of times as moms, especially with the social media age and the facade of these perfect moms that devote their lives to children. And it's not that I'm saying that that's wrong. That is part of some people's purpose, is that they cultivate these great humans, and they dedicate their lives to their children, and that is fine for them. It's not a sacrifice for them. But for me, it was becoming a sacrifice to the point where I felt like I was losing myself and becoming even more depressed, because I knew that for me that there was more in my journey than just that. And so, realizing that, okay, it's okay if he just has oatmeal or just cereal or just French toast sticks in a microwave, or in the oven. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done trying to appease this imaginary audience that is judging me. And people may judge, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to say, who cares? You really do, because it's like I'm always saying, you can't win for losing, and there's always going to be someone. But deep down, the people who hate the most are the wounded ones. They're the ones who are probably envious, and they want what you're doing, and they want your life. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I used to be that mom. I used to be the mom that judged the other moms who had a life outside of motherhood, who still had time to wear makeup, who still had time to go hang out with their girlfriends, who still had time to go on trips with their girlfriends, and who still had time to go on dates with their boyfriends and husbands and all these things, and they still was able to make this breakfast and cook this and do homeschooling and all these things. I'm like, I used to say, oh, look at them. Where's that kid? They out on a week-long vacation, and where's that kid? I was that judgmental mom. Or look at them. They got this, and it's just all this hater mentality. You have to be able to have that coming to Jesus moment and have that accountability within yourself and say, bro, you being a hater right now. That's why I love Insecure, because she really touches on the inner dialogue that's healthy. It is okay. It is not crazy to talk to yourself. I don't care what people say. Like, I do it, and I really suggest that everyone does it, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, it don't have to be walking around in public just talking out loud, but I do a lot of inner dialogue it's called contemplation. When I go walking in the park, or when sometimes I just go into a store and just walk around looking at stuff. I'm thinking, I'm pushing my basket, and I'm contemplating. I'm thinking about life. I'm thinking about this lesson. I'm thinking about this situation that happened yesterday. And it's like, my goal is always improvement, self-improvement. My goal is always evolving. My goal is always, not perfection, but just striving to be the best me that I can be, and to cultivate a family that exudes that same energy. As mothers, we are the stabilizers of our family. But it doesn't mean to the point that you are become this sacrificial lamb that you no longer can't do the things for yourself. I feel that not only myself, that a lot of mothers, we're being called to cultivate balance, to have these open conversations in a way that's not emasculating your men. You want to look at your man, and you want to be able to lean on them and have them as a provider and protector. You can't get that message across with a delivery that has attitude. Sometimes what we've been through in our experiences create this attitude and this hard shell, and we have to soften ourselves. Get into the balance of divine feminine and divine masculine energy, the ability to give and receive, the ability to ask for help and actually allow that person to do it, the ability to let your guards down, or allow someone to help you without you micromanaging it or saying, they didn't do it exactly how I do it. Because me, I'm gonna tell you right now, confession alert, I'm a control freak, and anything that puts me in a state of, how can I say, submission, or what's the word I'm looking for, when you surrender and you're on the receiving end, it puts me in an anxious state, and I'm like, oh my God, my control freak side comes out, and I'm aware of that, and I say, you know what, if my husband is helping me and he's not doing something that's exactly the way I want it to be, but it's helping me get a moment to myself, why am I going to sit up here and complain and say this? And this is the issue that I feel like is prevalent in a lot of relationships, is that we want help, but we want people to do things the way we want to do it. The saying, if you want something done your way, then you need to do it. Or you want something done right, do it your way, but not as to say is the right way. But what I'm saying is, sometimes you have to allow people to help you without, judgment or ridicule or critiquing. Sometimes quiet that critic. That inner critic sometimes comes and becomes the outer critic. And you have to realize that. That's what I'm saying. Constantly center back to self-accountability and cultivate that within your partner, within your household, family. It doesn't have to be, your partner may not be a man. I'm not like I said, a lot of my stuff is just coming from my perspective. I'm a woman in a heterosexual relationship, with a man. So I'm going to do a lot of referencing to things in my situation. But like I said, tweak and personalize my message to fit your life. Don't lose the message in who you think I'm delivering it to. I'm not delivering it to anyone specific, in a sense. Of course, mothers right now. But like I'm saying is, the life doesn't have to look exactly like mine for you to take the message and the meaning out of it. But yeah, so basically, those are some of the things that I was changing and altering about my thing. Like I really try hard not to spank my son. Do I slip up? Yes, another confession. But after that, do I yell? Yes. But follow the mom psychologist on Instagram too, guys. She's really great. But I love her delivery, because she talks a lot about positive parenting, but also being real. Like, you can discipline your child and teach them boundaries and teach them things that they need in this life, while still embodying love, unconditional love. So like when my son does something that people may perceive as difficult, bad, hyper, yada, yada, yada. For one, never giving him no drugs. He's never going to be diagnosed with ADHD. I don't care what people say. He's an energetic child. God gave me him for a reason. For a mother to have an energetic child, you've been called to cultivate a child that does not label themselves. Because believe it or not, you're going to be constantly put in situations where people are going to project how they feel about how you're raising your child based on his energy level. Don't internalize that and feel like you're a bad mom and feeling guilty or shame, and don't allow that child to internalize that and feel like they're bad, something's wrong with them, they're too hyper. These are the things that as mothers we have to ensure. Do the best you can and, give yourself grace. We're not perfect. Whatever they go through in life is their journey too. It's not about controlling their journey, but it's about, as a parent, we're constantly learning. There's no end all be all. There's no cure all for being the best parent, because every child is different. It could be twins, and one child could be totally different. You have to use a totally different method to get the message across. It's like becoming a master of self. That's why I say what I say is not the cure, but it can be used to spark something within your own soul to resonate with you. Go into any message of mine with the intentions or prayers that it opens you up to get the message that is specifically designed for you. Like when I used to get like synchronicities and numerologies, I noticed that I'm like, these are not the numbers that I see everyone else talking about. I'm like, my numbers were always balanced numbers. Like it would be 1001, which would be 1001, or it would be 1221, or basically it was all about balance. It's not to overthink. It's about, what are you thinking about when you see numbers? What are you thinking about when you get these messages? The message is specifically for you. It's not for anybody else. So Googling it may not get it unless you set a prayer or intention to receive, the message that you're trying to receive. But I realized that it was just a constant reminder: balance, breathe. You're okay. It's balance. You're trying to, and with me and my human design of being very extreme, finding black and white, I had to learn how to see the gray, not be so obsessive in one way or obsessive in another way, but finding a happy medium within the scale. It's a spectrum, guys. It's not all in motherhood, all in your spouse, all in your job. It's about cultivating the balance of all. A little bit of this, a little bit of this. Okay, at the end of the night, I'm going to spend time with my family. Phones away, jobs away. That's done. While my son's at daycare, I'm going to focus on work. And when he comes home, work is done. You know what I mean? Like creating the balance. Creating a balance in your relationship, creating a balance in everything. And so these are the things that I started implementing in my life that I didn't see as a mother. And so as that ego starts to die, that false sense of self of what we feel like makes us worthy as a mother, as a whatever, as a person, whatever role and identity you've identified with is challenged and altered, you feel like you're dying, because it is. That version is dying, and you're telling it that, no, I don't have to be that way. And I can constantly change and tweak and evolve it as I see fit. I love talking to my son. Some parents feel like they don't have to explain nothing to them. And they look at them as just like a kid. And you have to ask yourself, you know, I'm reading a little bit of the Bell Hooks book all about love. And, you know, she talks about how, who's fighting for the kids? You know, you got people marching for women's rights, black rights, all these rights, but where are the rights for children? A lot of times I feel like we perceive them as burdens, or like, it's just, we get so tunnel vision of, it's just a job. Do this routine, that we forget to just stop and give them our undivided attention and love, which is really all they will ever feel and know. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I try to do, is not focus so much on, I didn't get it. I didn't do this, or he had a little bit too much screen time, or yada yada yada, you know, or, you know, just beating myself up. So, you know, I like to talk to him, explain things. I'm trying to think of other things that I do that, you know, allowing him to explore different things, not, you know, determining what he's going to do based on what I like. Not saying that that's something I went through, but, you know, I'm just reflecting on a lot of things that children, you know, go through. Being a preschool teacher for like over 3 years, and being a teacher overall for probably about 5, I've had a lot of, you know, experience with children, and I'm using those tools. A lot of times we don't realize the things we've gone through and the experiences we've had and the training we've had from something we thought was so stupid really can be a deeper message. And that goes into a video I'm going to do about the tools. Using the tools you've gained through life, using the pain that you've gained through life, turning into power, turning into things you can reach back into as your arsenal. Like, now I need to harness that teacher tool that I got, that experience. I need to use that right now with my son. I need to use that nurturing thing with this or that, you know, all these tools that we get. I need to use that multitasking tool right now. Okay, now I need to use my divine feminine energy, and I need to rest. I need to stop being on such a go, and just sit down and be like, you did enough. Whether anyone tells you that or not, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You cannot rely on outside people to give you validation. Or, like I said, it's kind of with earlier when I was saying you relying on things to give you value and worth. You're going to always be left disappointed, because that's an expectation. You're allowing a person who is flawed. We come here encapsulated with shadows, with traumas, with all these things. So it's like you're relying on a person who has their own set of things to master and heal and transcend and you know, go through, and you're relying on them to be perfect, to be God. When you feel that, turn to God, turn to your faith, have the belief that you are taken care of. You're going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. These things you're going through, God knew it already. He knew that you could go through it. God doesn't put more on you than you cannot bear. My child may be a challenge at times, but I also have to look at, why is it a challenge right now? Am I overexerting myself? Because a lot of times we point and deflect on the child or the outside force, and you get mad at your man, you get mad at your son, you get mad at the world, you get mad at sometimes spirit. Not realizing it's none of these outside things that are the problem. The real problem is within yourself. Are you not speaking up? Are you not establishing boundaries? Are you not confessing? Are you not venting? Are you not asking for help? Are you doing too much that's making you in this energy of burnout, or, you know, whatever, these negative low energies? You have to take control, and that's part of being the co-creator, and that's part of the journey and learning how to alter your own energy. That's the alchemy. That's how you change the energy within yourself, is taking that, having that awareness, having that accountability, and then tapping into that divine masculine energy and making things happen, taking action. So that's why I say it's all a balance. Taking action to rest. That's the balance of the feminine and masculine. When I think of yin and yang, that's what I think of. It's not about man. First of all, when you hear feminine and masculine energies, take the image of a man and a woman away. It's not about that. It's just more about because men and women both have both energies within themselves. And I feel like society has made it hard for us to embody both of these energies because of the programming and the systematic things that are set up. How we're programmed as children, that, that's a whole nother story. But I'll get into like why I feel like, it's harder for women to do certain things and harder for men to do certain things, and easier for women to do certain things and easier for men to do certain things, based on how we are raised and brought up to believe, and what we can get away with and what we can't get away with based on our gender. When, like I said, you're not your gender, you're not your age, you're not your race. You are love and light. That's it. You are a spirit, a soul that has come to earth to learn the things that you need to learn, so that, you can elevate this collective mind that we have. Getting back into your faith with God, having that, rebuilding that stability, that rooted in faith, rooted in God, rooted in believing that everything is okay. And like I said, a foundation built in faith won't fail. Having these things, these mantras and these quotes and these inspirations and these affirmations that you say to yourself every day. Please tell yourself every day, I am worthy, I am safe, I belong, I am enough. Just the way you are. Because you're born that way. You don't lose it. You lose sight of it with your mind. Sometimes get out of your head and get into your heart. Feel. Open your heart. Soften it. Allow love to come in. These defense mechanisms that we build to stay safe only block your heart. You're thinking you're just blocking it one way and like, okay, now it can't get hurt. But you're also blocking it from the other end, meaning that no one can get in. No one can actually give you love when they're trying to. These are the things I'm learning and that I'm cultivating in my journey as a mother, as a woman, as a wife, as everything. I'm building the foundation to learn the lessons that I need to learn and to share my experiences and my reflections on life with you, so that hopefully something I say touches you in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul. It uplifts you and you know that you are okay. I want to tell you, if no one has told you, I love you. I'm proud of you. Thank you for everything that you're doing. You're doing a great job. Keep pushing. Don't stop. Give yourself grace. God has not forsaken you. God has not given up on you. It's your job to realize that so you don't give up on yourself. And if you have lost your way, I've done it several times. Come back. Come back. It's okay. Cry. Shed emotions. Scream in a pillow. Scream in your house. Let it out. Let these emotions out. Feel angry. It's okay. Let these emotions out. You need it. Crying is cleansing to your soul. It's cleansing to your energy. It washes away everything. Allow it. As always, guys, someone who cares, the spiritual activist, keep God first. Peace, love, light, healing energies. I love you guys. Peace out. Good morning, guys. Can y'all believe I'm still sore from working out Saturday? It's crazy how your muscles have a delayed reaction to working out, especially when you haven't been doing it in a while. I was like, dang, I'm getting sore as the days go on. I thought it was supposed to be the opposite. But anyway, I wanted to get on here to talk about something, that I feel like is really passionate of mine, but I kind of lost sight of it a little bit, and that happens time to time. Like I said, we're in the age of the information and everybody's perspective and everybody's whatever opinion, and we don't know what's real, what's true, what's fact for us, because we're being bombarded with so much information, and this technology, the phones in our hands, is just everything's at a click of a button. So it can get really overwhelming really fast, especially when you are a very compulsive or obsessive or analytical person, we fuel critical thinking in this society. So that's applauded versus, surrender and relinquishing control and leaning more into faith. So a lot of times it can be just a fickle or slippery slope to more anxiety, just creating this vicious cycle. But anyway, I started reflecting on like more of my sense of purpose, and yes, it's the Black community, yes, it's Black families, but more specifically, it's Black mothers, because I feel like right now a lot of women are going through mental breaks and having a lot of issues, and with the new age spirituality and everyone's perspective on the spiritual or energetic reasons why people are going through these things, they honestly don't always really help, because it can fuel a lot of traumatization, a lot of fear, a lot of paranoia, a lot of conspiracy theories, because it's really just someone's symbolic or creative perspective. We don't really know if that's fact. That's not necessarily proven, and we're just putting our faith into their perspective, even with me. But what I feel like mostly it started with the pandemic. Being home, having a young codependent child, I understand the challenges, and it's like it made me reflect on what initially started my awakening, which was my first blog that I ever wrote after like giving up writing, from being discouraged in school from teachers who didn't believe in me. But my first blog was Motherhood Life. It's sad. I forgot the title of my own blog, but I believe it's Life After Motherhood, a journey to finding myself. But yeah, the link it's on this podcast, so you can check it out if you want. But yeah, it's basically, I feel like, this pandemic was already a stressful moment. It's scary. And as a parent, as a mother, your number one goal and purpose once you become a mother is to protect your child. And that comes with a lot of stressors and, not feeling like you have all the tools, even though you do, but not feeling like you have all the tools consciously in your awareness can pose even more stress. And it's like you have these little lives in your hands. And I want to give all the mothers out there some motivation. If you're at home and you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you're not, but specifically for the ones who are stay-at-home and like that's like their sole responsibility, just know that as a mother, that job is worthy. It's one of the most worthy jobs you could ever possibly have. And I don't say job to feel like it's something that should be, how can I say, regretted or dreaded, but just know that what you do is just as worthy as any 9 to 5, any career, any other thing, because what you're teaching and instilling in your child, what you're cultivating is a whole human life and multiple lives for some. So if you're a mom and you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling like you don't have your sense of purpose, just know that your life does not end after motherhood. Your life is just beginning. You're stepping into a new chapter, a new phase into your life, and it's not over. Whatever you think about, reflect on the things that you used to like to do, that you wanted to do before you had that child. If you wanted to go to school, go back to school. If you wanted to take up a trade, pick up a trade. If you want to go back to work, figure out a way to go back to work. Release the guilt around, oh, I can't put my child in daycare and this and that. Honestly, these children need their interdependence. Interconnectivity. They need human interaction just like we do. You think they gonna get tired of seeing you too. It's just you and that child. Come on. Like they need, no, especially for the parents who don't believe in watching TV and all that kind of stuff. Like what literally are they when are they gonna learn the life skills that come from dealing with other people? And this is not a judgmental statement or, this is just my perspective from how I feel when I don't have that interconnectivity, when I don't have in the whole life balance wheel. Social is a big part of it. We are social beings. That's how we connect. That's how we learn. That's how we model. That's how we grow and evolve, by watching and observing and seeing what we do and don't like and what feels right and what doesn't feel right. Learning from example. But yeah, I just want you to know that you are worthy, you are enough, and what you're doing is creating legacies. It's creating an effect that is going to ripple past time. A lot of people out here seeking their purpose, and you don't realize your purpose is standing right in front of you, a couple feet tall, saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," making your nerves bad. You, you have to start to reframe and rewire your mind to know that motherhood is a beautiful thing. Yes, it's stressful. We have to normalize. Our children get on our nerves, and wanting to have space, wanting to have a break, wanting to wear a hat that's not just a mom hat, wanting to wear a hat that's, your name. Like, I want to be Jessica, for example. I don't want to just be mom all the time, or I don't want to just be wife all the time. I want to have friends and social life, and I want to work out, or I want to, get in shape, or, but I want to do things for me, and that is okay. And this goes for you too, dads, but I can only speak from my perspective, but this advice goes for dads as well, But yeah, especially the ones who are stuck at home, or taking on more of the homemaker role, because a lot of times I feel like that role is very undermined and undervalued and unappreciated. It's kind of like teachers. It's like these selfless jobs that don't have the hierarchy in our society, that don't have the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the accolades, or it's not even that. It's like where people don't find it as important, or just up there. It's like those can pose a lot of internalized feelings of insecurities, inferiorities, because they don't get paid for a lot for it, or they don't get paid at all for it, or society says that doesn't get a lot of attention or recognition and validation. Like I said, we are humans. We thrive off of validation, whether it's whatever kind of love language it may be, but validation is some form to let us know that what we're doing has purpose and what we're doing matters. And especially as a mother, we go through life, we don't really hear it for the first probably 3 or 5 years, because that child may not know how to communicate the things that we need to hear, which is, "Thank you, mommy," or "I love you, mommy," or "You're doing a great job, mommy," or "I'm proud of you, mommy," and all these things. And it's like, so we're going through life doing this selfless job that is very taxing, very hard to maintain. Realistically, it comes with a lot, very multitasking, which fuels anxiety as well. Monotasking is a little bit more achievable, but we're doing these things that are being downgraded and not seen as extensive, jobs. It takes a lot to run a tight ship, and you need to pride yourself. If your child is fed, clothed, they're up to date with their health, you're balancing a whole life along with your whole life. And if you're balancing multiple little lives, and that is a lot, you need to pat yourself on the back. If you have done nothing else but be a mom, that is enough. Like, I really want you to sink that into your core being. I love you guys. I really do. And moms, we are super women. A lot of people don't understand embarking on journeys with children, the struggles that come along with it. And we're carrying all of our own baggage. And for the mom who is progressive and really trying to evolve and break cycles, that's hard to go through all of these transitions while still trying to be upbeat and show your child positivity, while helping them self-regulate, while helping them understand their feelings, while helping them be better people, have positive self-image, as having a little black boy or a little black girl, helping them see positive representation, with there rarely being anything out there on the YouTube channels, on the commercials, on the cartoons, rarely any little people that look like them, so you're trying to seek and find it or create it yourself. All these challenges that come with it, trying to keep your relationship and the spark alive with that. And if you're a single mother, it can even be even more taxing, so it's like, or a single parent in general. Like I said, I'm speaking from my perspective as not a single, as a mother, but this goes to fathers, just like I said, I'm here for the Black family because that is a construct that I feel like has fallen beneath the cracks, and especially mothers right now, specifically because a lot of women, especially with children, are going through psychological traumas and issues, and they're not really being guided to real solutions that I feel like are helping them. It's really just feeding them false hope and putting them in these false illusions and these situations or circumstances that's not really getting to the root of their issues. And a lot of it is postpartum depression, regular depression, anxiety, stress, but all really coming from this being sedentary for so long, being isolated for so long, being quote unquote stuck with your child or children for so long, and that can be taxing. It is okay to want to break. It is okay to want to leave your child with someone else. Don't let people guilt you or make you feel like you cannot or you don't deserve that break or you're a bad mom because you want that type of break. Until they do it, until they're doing it, and even if they are doing it, you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. You don't know how many supplements, pills, liquor. You don't know what they're doing to cope with it. While they come out to you and with a smile on their face and looking all together like Susie, homemaker, Miss Suburbia, whatever. Don't let it fool you. Everybody has a closet filled with their own skeletons. Just know that you're human and everything you're going through is normal and it's okay, but you have to seek help, find people who you know understand you. A lot of times I follow moms because it's like I can't take advice from somebody who really don't know what it's like to have a child of their own. Even if you taught children or whatever, you really don't understand until you just are with this child 24/7 or with your child 24/7. It's different. I taught children. I would have a class of 20-something kids, but I'm like, how was I teaching 20-some kids when I barely can handle this one? And it's like, these are the things that we don't like to have, these mom confessions and these things that, being vulnerable and just speaking our truth. I love my son to death, and motherhood and being a mother is a big part of my self-image and my purpose. And I'm coming back to the love of that and knowing that the importance of that. And my husband, he's constantly reminding me and doing things for me to show me that he does appreciate me being a good mom. He's always telling me a good mom. And luckily my son, such a wise, smart, beautiful soul, is always telling me as well. And he's only 3. He's like, Mom, I'm proud of you. Mom, I love you. Mom, you're my best friend. Mom, thank you, Mom. All these things. He shows me appreciation constantly. He shows everyone appreciation. He's, like I said, such a sweet soul. Like, I love this boy. Losing a child, going through that, the grief of that, it's just like, there's so much in my motherhood journey that has created the woman I am today, battling with depression, anxiety, and a lot of stress, and, this letting go of all these spiritual perspectives that I was harboring that honestly have wreaked havoc on my life has turned a new leaf. And I'm just trying to regroup now and rewire my brain to be more in the reality of my life and just not dissociating from it because it was that unbearable to handle. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for right now. I love you guys. Peace out. Rise and shine your light in opulence, my solution seekers. It's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you again with another quick message, word, theory, whatever. But today I wanted to just do a little quick mom confession, just to kind of show you, like, to help out that mom out there who may be feeling guilty about the small things. But anywho, so today's my son's birthday. Happy birthday to him. I love him so much. But I was doing his hair in the mirror, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I was letting him throw his toothbrush in the water, filling up the sink with water, and playing with the container of leave-in conditioner, letting him float it in the water like a boat, doing whatever I can to distract him while I do his hair. And then he got restless. He's like, "No, Mom, I'm ready to get down." And so I'm like, no, come on, let me finish your hair so we can take the pictures, and you know, you can send it to your grandmother and and papa, and you know, and daddy, and you can go to school and you know, have your hair done for school and all this stuff, and for your birthday. He's like, no, I don't want to. He started throwing a fit. You know what? I got desperate and I said, hey, do you want your cupcakes? And he instantly stopped and was like, yeah. And I said, okay, well, come on, let's hurry up so we can finish, and then you can go to school and eat your cupcakes. But did I beat myself up about doing that? No. Sometimes you got to stoop a little bit low and do something out of your normal parenting, what would I say, parenting style or method to get something done. And it's no shame or guilt around it. This is a safe space. My podcast, this platform, is a place where I vent how I feel, and nothing or no one can make me feel bad about it, because I've cultivated that within myself. The things that people are rarely vulnerable and rarely honest truly about the things that happen in their lives, and I'm embarking on this journey with full bravery to put a lot of stuff out there so that hopefully my story and my self-confidence that I'm cultivating and self-acceptance that I'm cultivating, giving myself grace, will be an inspiration for any other moms, you know, women, black people like out there. So yeah, I just wanted to say that for the mom out there who sometimes may slip up and bribe their child with a little piece of candy to go pee-pee on a potty, or you know, who may, you know, give a small, you know, punishment threat, you know, just to get something done. Like, we as moms and parents, it's a lot, and sometimes we don't have the tolerance, or we're not centered enough, or how can I say, like, we're just not in a place where we can deal with the difficult behaviors that our children exemplify. Sometimes it's not that we don't love them and, you know, we're angry at them, but sometimes to make it a little easier on ourselves, we do something that's maybe out of our norm, you know what I mean? So I just want to kind of share that story, that little confession. And I also feel that confessions are very liberating and empowering, because you're putting that vulnerability out there, and believe it or not, more than you know, somebody else can share the same type of feeling. And it's kind of part of the coming out of the spiritual closet I talk about, de-stigmatizing things and being your authentic self, not hiding the quirks or the weird things that you do for fear of judgment or being considered crazy, because rarely are we crazy. The crazy people are the people who suppress themselves so much that that's what drove them crazy, not because they are being quirky or goofy or weird. I'm like, weird is normal. Weird is the normal. There is no norm. The norm is weird, or, you know, or diversity, different, like, and these are the things that we need to accept to cultivate a world of peace and love and harmony. But yeah, I'm gonna end this up. But yeah, so guys, as always, someone who cares, a spiritual activist, peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Keep God first. Peace out. Okay, guys, so my voice is getting better, but I had lost it over the end of this week. But I'm just coming on here to do like a mom confession. And so my son is very, very energetic. Some people may even feel like he has ADHD or something. I've gotten that a lot from people. Sometimes I even question it, just being honest. But I'm never going to put that label or diagnosis on him, because I don't want him to feel defined by it and feel limited by it. But does it get frustrating? Does it get overwhelming, exhausting sometimes? Yes, because he's always on 10. He rarely runs out of energy, you know. Even when he's sleepy, it's like he goes from 10 to 100. But it's like that conscious parenting kicks in. And it's like I try to have compassion, because it's like I think about it, it's like he's an image of me and my husband. Me and my husband both the same. We don't be sitting still for nothing. We move around all the time too. And we both talk a lot too. And that kind of is something that runs in both of our families. So it's just like, he's literally an image of us. We can't really be mad at him, but we still are human. So sometimes we do get irritated. And my confession is that, yes, I do snap sometimes. When my patience meter has gone dry and I'm on a burnout level, and I've told him the same thing 20 times, 30 times. I've had to redirect him 20 times, 30 times. Yes, I snap. Yes, I yell. Yes, I've even spanked him. Yes, I still do those things. Am I trying to limit them and avoid them and go do everything and exhaust all my options before it gets to that point? Yes. But sometimes some things don't work and don't get his attention like those other things do. And, I do feel guilty. I do feel shame sometimes, but I also realize that you teeter back and forth from your higher self to, old ways, and I give myself grace, and I know at the end of the day, I go to recovery mode when I do those things. I try to tell him I love him, and, no matter what, and that I accept him no matter what. But, you do have to realize that you looking at your child in his viewpoint of, you saw this or you saw that, but it's like, really, you just like him, so you really can't be mad. But yeah, that was my confession, is that I do snap at my child, I do yell at him, I do spank him sometimes, but overall I try to exhaust all conscious parenting, try to implement whatever gentle parenting techniques that I feel like are worthy, that are not necessarily a colonized viewpoint or, just Eurocentric standards, but more well-rounded and something that's realistic, because I don't believe in eradicating all traditions in parenting, because black people have been raising children and white people's children for centuries. So I'm about preserving traditions and eradicating things that are no longer needed. But until I feel like something's no longer needed, I'm going to continue to use it, because at the end of the day, my job is to raise a decent citizen, a decent human being in this world, and teach him and understanding life, basic life skills and how to survive out here, and consequences are one of them, and boundaries are another one. So these are things that I try to instill in him constantly, but it is going to take a practice, and he's going to make mistakes. That is how we learn. We're adults and we're still making mistakes. So just want to put that out there. As always, peace, love, light, and healing energies. Keep God first. Peace out. So, mom confession number 2 or whatever. I'm not going to keep count. But, so I was struggling to pull my clothes out the dryer, because we got like a little small space, in a sense, where our wash and dryer goes. And I had like a little flashback to being pregnant and frustrated, because my control freak nature had me needing help. And it's like, dang, because I was thinking, if I was pregnant, this would be even so hard, because my belly would be in the way. I wouldn't be able to bend over this door like I am right now. And I was like, but yeah, so I was thinking about when I hated needing help, and like being helpless in a sense, and just having to rely on other people to do things for me, like simple things like, I would sweep, but then I couldn't pick the trash up in the dustpan. Once I swept it in the dustpan, I couldn't pick it up because I didn't have the little one with the stick on it. And also the main reason, because that meant I had to ask for help. I had to ask for it and face the fear and risk of rejection or being told no, which I feel like is something that a lot of us, hate. We don't want nobody to just give us a hard time, or just, we got to hear them, they run their mouth and everything. Or people feel like you asking for something, now you owe them something, or they just got to hear your mouth. People feel like, if you need me, now I'm in some sort of power, or you owe me, or whatever. So we deal with a lot of that stuff. It also meant like dependency and vulnerability. I now fully embrace, though, as one of my superpowers, along with my empathy, sensitivity, and compassion for all, their vulnerability. And so I just want you to know and think about that, is if you're a control freak like me, if you OCD like me, just know that you're going to always feel depleted and out of control if you keep trying to be in control. I know it's hard to understand, but it's like you're going to always feel out of control, because you really can't control anybody or anything but yourself. And so you keep trying to control every situation, do everything, and you're going to be depleted. Let somebody help you. Let your man help you. You know what I'm saying? Ask for help. Verbalize it, but not don't wait till the end when you about to pop, and then you come off with the attitude and you trigger it and all this other stuff. Then it's like, you don't not do none of that. Don't get to that point. I'm trying to tell you, do it and talk and have compassionate conversations, and ask people for help, or if you need someone to help watch your children while you do something for yourself, do it, because like I say, you can't pour from an empty cup, and you don't want to get burnout. So these are preventative measures, you know what I mean? And it's okay to want to have some level of control. It's your life, you're right. But you don't want to do it. Nothing is to the point of depletion. I'm always talking about that. So just, allow people to help you. Allow things to kind of mess up sometimes. It's okay. Allow things to be out of order sometimes. It's okay. Allow things to be messy sometimes. It's okay. That's the reality. Everything isn't picture perfect like you see on social media and all these Susie homemaker moms who, yes, I make my son 5 meals a day, all dairy-free, gluten-free, 100% natural, wah, 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 wah. And you thinking like, oh my God. For the mom like me, I'm not saying every mom thinks like this, but I know for a mom who's an overachiever and who has perfectionism in their mind and who's obsessive, their mind is very obsessive and like very like self-critical. You're gonna look at that mom and say, "Oh, to be a good mom, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I'm a bad mom if I don't make all this for my." No, your life and your circumstance may be totally different from that person. They may can afford all those things. You may can't afford that, and that's okay. Like, you're working towards things. Like I said, when you're starting from the bottom and you don't have all the resources or the tools or the privileges or the foundation that another person has had, you cannot compare. And that's why comparing is such a dangerous thing, because you're looking at their end result and comparing it to where you at right now. You don't know what they went to get to that point. People don't show you the process. They don't show you the ugly, and I mean the ugly. Even when people try to show you, they don't show you the ugly. Relationships, they don't show you the arguments they done had, the fights they done had. They just show you, oh, we're sitting here great now, and that's okay too, because everybody don't need to know your business. But what I'm saying is, for you who's watching these people as an influencer, you need to know that you don't have to ask somebody, hey, y'all argue? Yes, they have had arguments. That's human. It's about embracing conflict, embracing the mess. Life is all about embracing the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? So just, it's like I said, this came to me the other day. It's like something kept ringing in my head. The saying of, there's something freeing about releasing control. There's something freeing about, for me, knowing that that this battle is not mine. At the end of the day, I'm just playing a part in it. And God's will is God's will. And I just need to sometimes surrender and let go and let God and just let him do. And I just do all I can. After you've done all you can, you just stand and you pray and you have faith. You lean into that faith. You lean into love. You lean into positivity. But know that positivity doesn't mean you can't express your emotions. Positivity doesn't mean that you can't honor those emotions when they come up. If you feel pissed, if you feel frustrated, if you feel defeated, honor that. If you feel anxiety, honor that. If you feel overwhelmed, honor that. These things are hard to carry. These are all emotions that we're carrying on our shoulders that we have been repressing for a while. And the more aware and you become of this, you become an observer of yourself. You know what I mean? And you come from this higher perspective, and sometimes you allow yourself to do it, and then you need to tap more into your higher self and say, okay, it's time to get out of that energy. You know, I allow myself to feel this stuff, but what am I going to do now? And when I talk about higher self, it's basically more of that, the aspect of you that's able to work through things. That's the motivator. Your higher self is kind of like your personal trainer or your coach or your cheerleader. You know, that voice and that observer that is motivating you, that is pulling you out, that is able to give you the advice that you need when you talk to yourself in your head or out loud. Hey, do what you do. May not want to do that in public though. But it's just that the aspect of yourself that brings you out the dark spots, brings you out of it, you know, pulls you out, that you lean into. And for some people, that's their voice, and for some people, they lean into it with prayer, because that's the highest of a high. But you have to know how to have a sense of sovereignty, autonomy, and personal power, and be able to do that with yourself and not always go to God, because like I said, you do play a part in your life. And God, think of God as like your parent. At some point, your parent is releasing you to do things on your own. And you will make mistakes. That's how we learn. Think about your child. That's why I say children are the best teachers. You want to learn something? Don't let your pride make you think that a young person can't teach you nothing. My son 3 years old and he teaches me something every day. Children are in essence, who we are meant to be before we get conditioned. Everything from their physiology, how their body function is, how they think, how they do, before prejudices and you know, marketing programs our mind to do certain things. They're the purest essence of what we should be. Lean into being childlike, you know, and not the immaturity, but you know what I mean? Lean into how would you be if no one else told you, if no one else was watching you, if no one else told you this is what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing, you know? But yeah, this was a little bit of a mom confession with a little bit of gems. Thoughtful Thursday. But all right, guys. Peace out. Love you. If you have a child that is, you know, physically in some way that is labeled as an inferiority or like a social setback or a physical setback. So, for example, if you have a son or you're raising a young black boy and he's small in stature compared to all his friends, don't you internalize that, you know, he's less than, or he's not going to be able to perform the same, or he's not going to be able to do this or that, because he's going to have enough of that around him. You have to create the foundation so that he knows his worth is more than his size or his stature, because then he could develop that little man's complex or little man syndrome where he feels inferior, insecure, and, you know, depleted or just insecure overall of himself. Like I said, self-acceptance is one of the greatest things that you can have. And sometimes just coming to terms with, if my son is small, my son is small, and not make it such a big deal like society does, and, you know, how the media portrays and makes fun. Yeah, we rag on it and everything, but size is not going to determine a person's heart. And that's why I say our physical attributes are great and they're fine, that we like and appreciate them, but don't let them get in the way of the deeper, what's more sustainable to you as a person and your worth. Your worth is more about your heart and your character and your personality and your ability to be a decent individual. So for my son, you know, I like to teach him about animals and creatures that are small, but are very strong. And so that gives him the motivation to go around and feel like he's strong, you know? And so these are the things I want you to kind of incorporate, even if you have a little girl, if there's something about her. Like a lot of times little girls, for some reason, little black girls, their hair doesn't grow in until later in life. But then when it grows, it grows. And so it's like, you know, we may feel like, man, my little girl, her hair ain't growing and this and that, so she's not as pretty, or she's this, or she keeps being mistaken for a boy. And my son, he keeps being mistaken for a girl because he has long hair. So you see how it's like sometimes we allow little labels and things to cloud the reality. You know what I do? I tell him, say, I'm a boy, but not in a mean way, but just like, so he knows, because I don't want him internalizing nothing and feeling like, oh, why I must look like I must be a girl. No. This is why people get trapped and confused sometimes, because no one has ever told them that, no, you are what you are, and don't let anybody else condition you or subconsciously or subliminally condition you to think that you're this or that because you have this or that, or because you do this or that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just being mindful, and you have to be your child's regulator, sustainer, until they're able to do it themselves. Like I said, children are like us. We're like children sometimes too, but they're just, you know, putty in people's hand. They're easily moldable. And for an insecure adult, we're the same way. We have that inner child that's wounded that can easily be moldable when we're in that insecure and low state within ourselves. So self-love, self-acceptance. And I kind of just want to put that out there. So how to cultivate that within your child. Get books that represent things that defy the odds of what they may have been blessed with in their attributes, and know that God does not do anything. We are perfectly designed. God did not create our bodies for anything to be cut off, altered, changed. Like I said, I'm not judgmental of people who do anything. Circumcision, I don't feel like that's something that's a necessity. And that's just something random I just put in there. But yeah, just know that your body wasn't designed to cut anything off. Nothing was made wrong, unless you have some kind of abnormality, of course. But like the general way of the human anatomy was perfectly designed by God, and that's how it's supposed to be. Your hair, it doesn't have to be cut. It doesn't need to be cut off. It doesn't this and that. Like your hair is an extension of you, and to me, it's like hair is very spiritual aspect of the human body. But yeah, so just cultivating that self-acceptance and self-love within your child. Hey y'all, so I want to do a episode on parenting and motherhood. I know it's been a while since I've done one of my motherhood or parenting reflections or mom confessions, but if anyone knows me, motherhood and being a mom is a huge part of my identity, and God knows how much intention and will I put into raising my child to be the best that he can be with the tools that I have thus far. And as I grow and learn more and more, I evolve my parenting style. I try different things. I understand that what worked for me may not work for him. We are two different people, and everybody's a different person. What works for one person may not work for the other. And people who have multiple children can understand that, because sometimes they have to use different parenting styles, different products for hair. Like, everything could be totally different. So it's a challenge. And me just having one on earth, one in heaven, but only having to raise one on earth, I know it's a challenge, and I only have one. But and if you hear that noise, that's just my signal light. I am driving. But I just kind of want to talk about a few little things. So when you're frustrated, or you're kind of repressing emotions, or you're irritated, or you're feeling impatient, or you're feeling a little ag, don't take it out on your child. Don't release your repressed emotions on your child. They're not a punching bag. They should not be the source of any emotions that you are not dealing with on your own. You know what I mean? Because yes, they may be actually cutting up, but the thing is, you have to ask yourself, your tolerance is already how can I say, low. Your tolerance is already low because you're at a state of irritability. So you have to take that into consideration and know that if you was in a good mood, what they're doing right now probably be funny. But because you're irritated, now what's coming off is, oh, they cutting up in their ear, and they getting on my nerves, and yada yada yada, and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, you have to sometimes just walk away, take a deep breath. Because I've caught myself too, jacking my son up, or just like, getting really, really frustrated, and like, him getting on my nerves. I'm like, it's not really just him. This is his normal behavior. He's not doing something extraordinary that he doesn't do already. But it's just now, because I'm really probably biting my tongue with somebody else and not wanting to, pop off on them. I'm trying to keep the peace. I'm trying to do this and be the bigger person, or just walk away from something. So now that energy, that emotion has not been released. So now I come home and I'm frustrated with them. Or it's the same thing with, like, parents, or moms or dads, when they go to work and their boss has been yelling at them all day long, and then they come home and they take it out on their kids and wives or husbands, and they gotta be. That's why they always say the ones you hurt the ones you love the most, because you're typically probably taking all your frustration out on them instead of really dealing with the issue. What you need to do is figure out a healthy way to release those emotions. Like for me, I'm going to be going for a walk right now. That's something that helps me get a peace of mind. Or sometimes journaling. But if I don't got time to journal, sometimes I'll like make notes in my phone, or figure out other things to do. But I may even go for a run. Who knows? While I'm on that track, I may change my mind. But yeah, it's like, figure out something to do. Recognize recognize that maybe you're feeling a little frustrated, and maybe you're feeling a little irritable. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, my son is 3, but if anybody knows him, they know he's a very intelligent young boy. And I'll say things to him like, it's not you, buddy. Mommy's not mad at you, but I am frustrated, okay? Go play over there, or I'm gonna go over here, or I'm gonna go in here, or whatever. Because I don't want to take that out of him. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's really not fair. And I just try to be, it's part of what I call conscious parenting. And I didn't coin this. This is a term that I've heard before. I don't know what other people have defined it as, but to me, it's just kind of being aware of your parenting style, of how you inflict your traumas, your fears. It's just being aware. It's like the same awareness I'm always preaching about for your own individuality. It's just kind of bringing that awareness into parenting. So, yeah, I just want to talk about that and just being mindful of your emotions and who you take them out on. And to me, one of the biggest things is acknowledging it. If you say something like in your head or, sometimes out loud, it depends on who around. I'm not going to just be walking around blurting out, I feel angry in the middle of the grocery store. But, you could just be in your head, you know what, I feel pissed right now. And that's okay. It's not about the emotion. I'm not going to keep saying this. It's not about the emotion. There's nothing wrong with the emotion. It's the behavior that's attached to the emotion that needs to be worked on. If you're going around and you talking to everybody crazy and just stupid and ignorant, and you think because nobody has ever checked you that you can walk around and keep doing that bullshit all day long, then you're gonna find your day. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Somebody is going to check you one day, and I'm trying to help you check yourself before you wreck yourself. But seriously, I'm only saying this because I do it myself too. This is not like a scolding or whatever. We all in here trying to help each other out and, and better ourselves in some kind of way. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you have done this thus far, because the awareness now you know. And now you can work on it. We all work in progress. I ain't perfect. I always say, I'm perfectly imperfect. God made me this way, and everything I go through is shaping who I am and shaping who I'm going to be. So, yeah, just be aware. Find out healthy ways, acknowledge it. Go do something to release it in a more positive way that doesn't inflict it on someone else. Or sometimes it just means maybe you do need to speak up to the person who you're repressing that emotion from. Maybe you don't need to bite your tongue. And there's a way to do it without being crazy too, or ignorant. You can, but I know a lot of times anger is the easiest way to express our emotions, because being sweet or being vulnerable or being sincere or being calm gets ran over. People feel like that's a personality, or that's a person I can run over because they got sense and they're mature and they're emotionally mature and that means they weak. Oh no, don't get it twisted. Don't take my kindness for weakness. I'm being civilized with you because decency is something that fuels my spirit. But don't get it twisted. The other side of me will come out. Believe it or not, people. All y'all ignorant folks who walk around ignorant 24/7, just know the people who are decent, or who try to show respect and try to show customer service and try to show this and that and manners and all this decency, trust and believe they do have another side. Where there's light, there's dark. And it can come out in the blink of an eye. But what we're doing is we're trying to be something that everybody needs to try to do, and not just taking things out and not being so reactive. We're trying to be more responsive and in control of ourselves, because you are the one walking around out of control. We're walking around in control of our own system, of our own emotions, of our own body, of our own mind. Can you say that for yourself? If this is you, I'm talking. It's a wake-up call. I'm talking to you. Take accountability for your actions. These are the fundamentals that I'm always talking about, the foundation of self that is being lost in the sauce. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Be a conscious parent and don't take out your emotions on your children. They're not your punching bag. Love you guys. Peace out. Rise and shine your light in opulence. Solution seekers, it's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you with another word, message, spout of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. On today's reflection, so basically everything is a journey, right? And when you become a healer and when you feel like you've been called to be a spiritual teacher, you uphold this responsibility. Yes, you're on your own, human experience, your own journey, and you're kind of sharing it with the world. Sometimes the messages are for you, sometimes they're for the world, and sometimes they're a mix of both. And my journey has a lot of aspects, as I'm sure for a lot of people. And so as a mother, part of my journey is a motherhood journey, a parenting journey. And we all know that there's no real manual. I mean, there's knowledge out there and there's information out there, but the wisdom really comes from within, and you have to tailor it to your lifestyle and your own divine intuition, or whatever you want to call it, or your own based on the things you want out of that, your child and your parenting beliefs. So I was reflecting on something that was kind of sparked or sparked from a post I saw. And in the post, it was basically talking about, so the little girl goes to Sam's with her mother, and the little girl wants this dress, $15 dress. And I don't know if the mother really couldn't afford it, but she's like, I really didn't want to buy it, and yada, yada, yada. But she's like, because of that, she made up a rationalization and told the daughter, no, I don't think we should get it because daddy may not like it. So they didn't get the dress. A couple days later or whatever, next thing you know, she ends up buying the dress because the little girl said something like, Mom, I don't want the dress because dad may not like it. And so at that point, she realized she made a parenting mistake. And when your pride is humbled and you're able to learn from your mistakes and take accountability, you can see mistakes more clearly, not from a place of self-judgment, But so she realized, she now taught her daughter to seek validation over her own. You know what I mean? Don't get something you love because have this fear of judgment or people loving you based on what you do for them or how you please them. Y'all get the idea. And this is something we do as adults. So in parenting, another little gem is that you learn a lot how to be an adult and how to heal as an adult through parenting, because you start to ask yourself, would I really want my child to go through the same situation that I'm going through? By healing yourself, you're healing your children. And so this kind of made me think about stuff. Is a lot of times, especially when it pertains to money, we always tell our child, we ain't got it, we don't got the money, this and that. And I'm not saying don't have reality to your child, but I feel like don't make up false rationalizations that could really tarnish how they see the world and how they behave as adults. For instance, if my son wants to go to these all kind of classes for different kind of stuff, who knows, gymnastics, whatever, and if I feel like I can't really afford it, I don't want to just make up something and say oh, gymnastics is not good, we shouldn't, that's stupid, nobody wants to go to gymnastics. That could scar him, that could shadow an aspect of himself that really would uplift his spirit. It could have all kinds of reactions. But instead, you can say something like, I'm working on it, I'm working on being able to get you into these classes, or, we're not doing it right now until maybe the summer. Let's shoot for the summer. The goal is to get you in that for that. Just different stuff, based on that. And it just let me be able to see things from a perspective of be careful what you put into your child or instill into them, because it's going to be very hard to break away from that. I made an analogy before. I'm not sure if I posted on my podcast before, but I was talking to one of my coworkers who's into, black education and all this other kind of stuff too. And I was just telling her, I was like, I feel like from birth to adolescence, children are in, I don't want to say quicksand, but loose cement. And as they get older and start to care more about what other people think besides their parents, it becomes harder and harder. So it hardens and it becomes solid concrete. So by the time they're an adult and they're able to see the world from a different perspective that's more centered around their own needs, now they're having to chip away instead of just pull themselves out. Now they're having to chip away and unlearn to relearn to fulfill their own personal needs. Now that voice that is theirs is harder to hear, and they have to work at it. Imagine their voice being buried at the bottom of that concrete pit that their legs are stuck into, the roots of them. So to get to that voice and hear it, they have to chip away, and that chipping away is chipping through all the conditioning, all of the programming, all of the instilling that they've acquired over a lifetime. It doesn't mean to scare you or put some pressure on you as a parent. Give yourself grace. We're all learning, and that is okay. That's why it's called a mistake and not a failure, because you learn from mistakes. That's how we learn as adults, as humans, as children, period. So that's the idea. But as they're growing, try your best to be more aware of the things that you tell them and the things that you subject them to, and give them more room to wiggle. Don't box them in and say it's so many obsolete, so many black or white, like it's either this or that. Sometimes say it's okay, or use more words like, well, sometimes this happens and sometimes not, because that gives them opportunity to create and cultivate balance in their lives and regulate things and manage things, versus is this or nothing. Then that kind of like puts them in the box mentally. But yeah, that's just something I kind of want to share and express with you guys. Hopefully you can find something within these words that inspire you and open you up and enlighten you in some kind of way in your own parenting, motherhood, fatherhood, whatever caretaking journey. As always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out. So yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, I was talking to my husband, and I was kind of having a stressful day, felt like spiritually defeated, not knowing where my career is going, where I'm going as a spiritual teacher, as a spiritual activist, and just the journey of being a mother, of being a preschool teacher, and just really trying to give and nurture the Black spirit without deflating it or disempowering or oppressing it, can bring about a lot of emotions. And so my son, it's always your own that gives you the hardest time, because you have a lot tied up into that child. Subconsciously, Black people feel like their child is a representation of them, a reflection of them. And to a certain extent, yes, that can be true, but there are what's the word I'm looking for? Exceptions. I've seen parents who beat their child every day and they still act up every day. I've seen parents who do nothing in disciplinary and their children are well behaved and great. And their parents are neglectful. There's just a spirit is a spirit. You don't own your child, so sometimes you have to let go and surrender and meet your child where they're at. And of course, that doesn't mean not have standards. As I always have to remind y'all, take everything with a grain of salt. You can sit here and waste your time dissecting and analyzing everything I say and say, well, no, not really, not really. Or you can just listen to what I have to say, interpret it in your own divine way, how it resonates with you, and let the rest go. But I was just getting frustrated and just like, I'm tired of the spanking being the only solution, or, it's like the only thing I can resort to, or I just want to find a way to get through to my son in ways of helping him with his aggressive behaviors, his lack of, basically, I don't like to use certain labels, but to help you guys understand, like the stubbornness, which is more of a strong-willed leader, powerful person, that spirit, but teaching him that he has to learn how to be a leader and know when to follow. As I talk about him, he's waking up out of his sleep. Crazy. But yeah, basically I was just talking to him about my frustrations, and that there's already so many things out there in this world that are designed to disempower, defeat, control, box in. But yeah, guys, it's crazy. Every time I'm trying to do something, I swear, I don't truly understand the makings of why things happen when you're trying to do something, but whatever it is, it's annoying AF. But yeah, so it's like there's already so many things out in this world that are designed to make you forget who you are and what power you have. As I'm sitting on the toilet making this podcast, my 3-year-old peeks through the cracks. What is it? Oh my God, guys. Anyway, come. Nothing, I'm talking. But basically, so many things in this world that label us in ways that make us internalize so much. We come into this world into a psychological war in our minds, battling what we've been told we are versus what we know we are. The soul versus the mind. All of the conditioned and programmed roadblocks that have been put into place to prevent us from getting and reaching our ultimate and limitless power. And just being mindful of that within yourself and within parenting and teaching. You don't want to instill and continue this cycle of domination, control, oppression. Bottom line, we're closing the mind instead of opening it. We're closing the access to our soul, to our infinite power, versus accessing it. And I'm trying always to nurture and teach my son how to control his energy, channel his energy in healthier, productive ways. Overprotection leads to coddling, leads to enabling, leads to setting your child up for failure or rude awakening. This fuels lack of discipline, structure, accountability, all the things they will need for success. This is why a lot of us struggle so much to focus on one thing. And then, we carry, as the ancestral DNA wakes up, we have all of these gifts that we could tap into. And we don't know what really resonates with us. We don't know what's true to our heart, what to focus on. It's just so much to it, so many layers. We're very multifaceted, passionate people, so much energy, and we need that passion to keep our energy stimulated, to keep us stimulated. Or else we get bored, we lose interest, we lose focus. And that's the same with children. Children are mini ancestors, mini adults. And they deserve more grace than we do because they don't even truly understand what's going on within them. At least we can say, we don't really either, but we've had 30 years in our belt. What do they have? 3, 2, 5, 10? So you have to think about that. They have bad days. They have stress. They have anxiety. They just don't know how to label it. They're in the world too. Their energy, they feel energy. They feel the exile of society. This is why a lot of times they're very codependent, especially to the mothers, But, the black family and the black spirit, there's so much to it. And I almost hate talking about it on my platforms because I feel like sometimes people are just using it for research to find more ways to disempower us. And I will not be a pawn for anything that's malicious. But I know my intentions. And my intentions are that any word and wisdom that I get is so coded that the average person with malice intentions cannot interpret nor use it for evil gain. But as I think about it, I just start to build confidence knowing that black women are the original healers, the original teachers. We have the capabilities to raise our children in the right way. We just have to continue to gradually align with that higher self with that knowledge, that wisdom, that inner knowing of what our child needs, giving them levels of independence, power, being their guide, not their tyrant, dictator, knowing when to lead and when to follow, letting go of the monster mentality that tells us everything is defiance and it's, and not just aspects of strong will, leadership, power, the things we want our children to be, that, but yet we're constantly putting roadblocks in there. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes subconsciously. We're not always aware. And this isn't a shame on parents at all, because I'm in the boat with you. It's give yourself grace, It's a journey of incorporating new ways of parenting without losing the true essence of tradition and the things that make Black childcare sought out. You have to think about movies like The Help. Think about preschools and how they're always trying to they're always trying to staff Black teachers. Why do you think that is? Why do you think other races, namely white, prefer Black people to raise their children? Because of the lessons that they learn when they're with them, because of the knowledge and the preparedness they have, like the ability to take care of themselves and survive, and just that wisdom that a lot of times you just can't get from teaching. Knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom are different things. They can be intertwined, but some things are just not necessarily teachable. You have to just tap into that and ask for that kind of wisdom, for that kind of knowledge. And speaking on knowledge, yeah, I'm going off topic, but I think I have a post about this, about confidence. But in building confidence, let go of shame of not knowing and understanding. A lot of us spiritual teachers, we use vocabulary or jargon that can be confusing or intimidating, and we're all in this swinging contest of who knows the biggest words, who knows the most history, who knows the most dates, who knows the most political news, who knows the most spiritual whatever, and sometimes that's not what your tribe is most 9 times out of 10 lacking the knowledge. So if you come to them already on level 35 and they haven't even read the first 2 pages of the book, how much of a success rate do you think you're going to have? There's a fine line as being a teacher that you have to understand, knowing how to bring down the notch of trying to prove, like conversations with your colleagues and fellow healers is different from conversations with your tribe. And just, we have to humble ourselves. I know a lot of times we want to, the ego is like, yeah, I'm smart too. But I've learned to stop trying to compete with people and seem smart when I know, just because I don't know what you know does not make me dumb, does not make me whatever. Because some people can have street smarts and have no book smarts, and that does not make them less than. And some people can have all the book smarts and wouldn't know how to tie their shoe if it's to save their life, or fix a meal to save their life. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody has something. Don't let people knock you down, because that's the total opposite of what a healer or teacher is supposed to be doing. Teachers and healers are not supposed to be spreading knowledge to make you feel dumb or less than. It's supposed to be spreading knowledge to empower, uplift, and educate you and elevate you. So, yeah, keep all that in mind. As always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving it. Love you guys. Peace out. Hey, y'all. So, I know I kind of touched on this a little bit on my conscious parenting thing, but like I said, this goes beyond parenting. This is just an everyday life type situation. When it comes to regulating your mood and your emotions and how you feeling. And so I was talking to my husband about work and all this other kind of stuff, and just going through life, and like, situations where people want to handle you crazy or talk to you crazy and take your weakness for kindness. Take your kindness for weakness or whatever. And like I said, just like there's light, there's dark. Just because you think I'm saved or because I'm this decent person, don't get it twisted. Like the saying goes, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. So don't think I won't get ignorant with you, because sometimes you have to give a person a taste of their own medicine for them to really see, because that's really the only language they understand. They don't understand kindness. They take that as weakness. It don't matter. Like, you being a bigger person sometimes does not work. And sometimes what someone needs is really somebody to give it to them rough, like give it to them like, I'm not playing with you, bro. Like, you think you could talk to me and handle me any kind of way. And so we were just talking about this. Okay, so say you got somebody, say you working out in the sun, right? And then, you got to work with other people. But they have to delegate you or direct you to do your job. But say they hot and irritable and thirsty or hungry, hangry, whatever they're going through, right? You don't know what they're going through. And so they handling you all kind of crazy ways and talking to you stupid and getting mad at you. And then you sit up there like, you know what? Heck no, I ain't doing nothing wrong. You ain't finna handle me no type of way. And then, so you got to get stupid with him, and like, you may have to curse him out. And I ain't gonna lie to you, cursing, I'm not a big cursor, but I will do it because honestly, it's a stress reliever. It's therapeutic. It can be very therapeutic, especially for a person who don't curse often. It's just words, and words are energy. And it's like, you releasing that energy. Like, when you frustrated, angry, pissed, when you start cursing and stuff, you releasing that energy. Like, sometimes it's good. And even if it's just by yourself, like in a room, like, it ain't got to be like curse people out. That's not what I'm saying. My point is, sometimes you got to put people in their place, or just let them know, like, I ain't the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, because people will walk all over you and run over you. And it doesn't always take that. But like I said, sometimes in life, and being this lifestyle type of coach that I am, I'm going to let you know that there is going to be hypocrisy. So you may be saying, dang, you just said be the bigger person or be a better person. Don't take and watch your behavior and yada, yada, yada. But like I also said, every case and every life situation is different. And it's all about you becoming wise and knowing when to pull out what tools and what to do what. Like, you have to know, is this a situation where I want to waste my breath and go into this and go back and forth and debate and do this or do that? Or is this a situation where I want to walk away and be a bigger person? Sometimes you're going to say, I don't want to walk away. And this person needs to hear it, because they don't walk through life all their life talking to people crazy. And this is a consensus amongst a lot of people. And so I need to set them straight. And it's gonna make me feel good. Oh, well, I'm not perfect. I'm perfectly imperfect. Sometimes, like I said, you got to curse a motherfucker out. So, and that's just as simple as that. Like, people think you just, they may have known you as one way, and then you grow and you mature, and you're not about all that conflict anymore. You're not about all that plexing all the time. You're not about all that, just always complaining and nagging and talking to people stupid and ignorant. And so they think now, oh, this nigga, he weak now, or she just brand new, or all these things. And they think now that they can just talk to you and handle you any kind of way. And sometimes you got to remind them, nah, nigga, I'm doing this for me. I'm being a better person for me, not for you. But don't get it twisted. I will still get with you. Like, it ain't no, what's the saying? I don't know, but basically, you ain't no weakness in your blood, basically. And like I said, walking away and being a bigger person is not a weakness either. So just knowing that you got strength in every decision you make, like I said, life is all about making choices, and you got the choice in everything that you do. And so just know that every action has a reaction. Every action has a possible consequence, but it's still you making that choice and stepping into your sovereignty and your autonomy and in control of your life. You stepping into the driver's seat and being a co-creator of your reality. And then, sometimes you got to make the choice or decision to cut people out your life if they're constantly putting you in situations that you don't want to be in. But also, I'm not a believer. I'm not a person who preaches and cut off everybody. Run away from your problems, because a lot of times that's the easy route out. I'm a big believer and optimist of healing relationships. Sometimes you are put into people's life to help them heal, and that person actually is very much like you. And that's why you bump heads a lot. And sometimes you need to help each other heal. You're put into each other's lives because y'all are like spiritual guides to each other. And when I say spirit, let me tell you, like I always say, my disclaimer is when I use the word spiritual, I'm not talking about something grandiose. Spirituality is just life. You know what I mean? And sometimes, yes, there is a spiritual realm, but I'm not talking about spirits. I'm just saying when I use the word spiritual or something like that, I'm just meaning seeing things from a bigger perspective or, higher perspective and just with more insightfulness to it. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Sometimes let a nigga know don't take my kindness for weakness. But that's all, y'all. Peace out. You know why I think kids eventually end up rebelling or like going through that wild stage? For one, it's nothing that you really could have done. Like every child, like I said, as humans, we learn from experience, and sometimes that's part of that journey is going through life, being wild, making mistakes. But yeah, so they gotta go through that. That's part of their journey, making mistakes, getting burned, get heartbroken, getting those tickets, getting in the wreck, doing all these things that we've all kind of been through in some form or fashion. But also, I think a lot of times children rebel against us because we don't show them that other side of us. We have our I don't even want to say persona, because that's more of a sense of being fake. It's not that you're being fake. It's just that you're being PG-13 or PG-2 or PG-3. You're censoring yourself for your child. Yeah, just because you like to twerk and listen to this music, that don't mean you really necessarily want to expose your child to the exact thing that you do. And that doesn't mean you're not being real or you're not showing them the real. It just means that you're being conscious of the fact that they are children and they are still impressionable. And as they get older, you'll expose them little bit by little bit more of who they are. Now, I don't believe in like totally, if you this total drug dealer or something, and I'm being extreme because this is what they show a lot on TV. And it's like, you don't want, and then you feel like, and you have a whole nother life when you come home. Like, you don't think that's going to be within their child. You don't think eventually they're going to go down that path. And I'm all about exposing them before they get exposed, if that makes sense. If you're going to drink with me. If you're going to smoke with me, or something. Like, I want you to be in a secure environment where you can see what your first reaction is and all this other kind of stuff. Also, I think it's because we don't teach balance a lot. Like, I don't think it's realistic to think that your child is never going to eat candy, sugar, cookies, junk food. But what I teach my son is junk food is in essence bad in a sense, because you don't want to eat too much of it. It can give you tummy aches. It can give you cavities, stuff like that. And ultimately, we all still living. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I eat candy, I eat junk, and like ultimately my health isn't poor, but that's not what I'm trying to teach him. I do want to help him make smarter eating habits and be more conscious of his nutrition, but I teach him balance. You can have that bag of chips, but now you need to have some salad, or you can have these fast food or pizza, but now let's go home and eat a home cooked meal, or just trying to eat something more nutritious that you know where it came from and how it was prepared and stuff like that. So just teaching balance and moderation and not necessarily limiting, because you have to also be realistic. Don't be a hypocritical parent. And it's not do as I say, not as I do. You have to try to incorporate the same things you're doing for your child with you, because you can't expect them to heal or have a different way of being when you're not doing it as well. They learn from modeling, and you're within their DNA. So there's a lot of spiritual connection and spiritual aspects about it, but ultimately just focus on the fact that what they see what you do and they model it, and there's a lot of things that are with them that you may not even want them to be to like harbor or have, but they will. So you have to teach them how to recognize and be aware and not pretend like what they don't know they want to be exposed to. Not what you don't know won't hurt you, not that, but like thinking that out of sight, out of mind. If I never expose them to something, or if I never bring it up, if I never talk about sex, they'll never do it, or they'll never. No, that's detrimental, and that's why sex education is becoming. I believe it's starting to get into schools more, because we really need to. We've been misconceived of thinking that what we don't talk about with our children, they're not going to understand. It's more like if you watch a TV show and something inappropriate comes on, instead of being like, go close your eyes, go in the room. If they've seen it, talk about it, discuss it. And if it's something that goes against your belief system, talk about it, discuss it. They've already saw it now. So you telling them, oh, shun this, and that's going to make them curious. We are curious by nature. And so what you don't expose them to, they're going to be like a tiger that's been caged, and you let the beast out the cage. When they hit college, that's why they go wild and crazy. Why do you think the preacher's kids always be the most promiscuous, or we know what's up, all this kind of things that we hear and stuff, because they've been so strict. Like their upbringing has been so strict that now it's like their spirit wants to experiment, and you haven't groomed their spirit to know, yeah, it's okay to have freedom and wildness, but the grounding and the stability is what a lot of us are lacking. And that's why a lot of people are also getting extra wild and thinking that now I'm free, I'm liberated. No, but do you have any dignity? Do you have any self-worth? Along with that, there are fundamentals of everything, and those are things that we need to instill in them as parents. Guess what, guys? My son is going to the potty like a big boy. Alexa, stop. James, say, I'm a big boy.
I'm a big boy.
Say it louder.
I'm a big boy.
You go pee-pee in the potty?
Yeah.
You go poo-poo in the potty?
Yeah.
Yes. What does everybody do?
Peeps.
Everybody pees. What else does everybody do?
Everybody poops.
Everybody poops. You got it. I'm so proud of my son. And guess what? We're going to have a potty party, right? Yeah.
Go to it.
It's going to be this weekend, okay?
I want to go to it.
You want to go to it? I'm going to get you some cupcakes. Mommy and Daddy are so proud. And guess what? You're going to get to play with your cousins. It's going to be so much fun. And a little pool in the water with bubbles. All types of fun things. Yeah. Yeah, guys, that was me in my mommy voice talking to my son about how proud I am of him. When raising young black children, it's essential and a must to constantly give them validation. You got to remember they're carrying the spirit as well. You have to realize that they carry that DNA as well. You created them with what you carry. When you and your husband or boyfriend, man, whatever, baby daddy, y'all created this child together. You put your DNA information and he put his DNA information, and that is carried along in that child. So I see the little insecurities within him, and he's just a pure child. And I know me and my husband, we've done everything to cultivate a happy, loving child. And he really is. I'm telling you, everybody who knows him knows he's special. And, he really is. But I still can see the insecurities, the little aspects of the vacant esteem, the need to conform and blend in, to fit in and be accepted and have friends. And, these are normal things that come with children. But I can just see it, and it's like, you have to give these children validation. And, between me and my husband, not rushing and comparing our son to anybody else and like, oh, he's 3, he should be potty trained, or he's 2, he should be oh, your child's a potty trained at 1. Oh my gosh. We didn't pressure or rush him for 1. We, my husband was like, oh, we could do the, sticker. I can't remember exactly what part he's like, yeah. So we bought this Paw Patrol potty at Walmart. and it makes a little sounds and all these other kind of things, and he really loves Paw Patrol, so that was motivating for him. And then when I went to his like checkup, the doctor's like, he already had these little underwears at Paw Patrol, and she's like, buy some underwear that he likes, and say stuff like, you don't want to go pee pee on Chase, or you don't want to go pee pee on Rubble, and just kind of being very positive. And that's this positive reinforcement. I feel like a lot of times in our community we take it as being white or being a white parent, and honestly it's sad that we feel that being positive or speaking in a friendly, loving tone is being white. We need nurturance as well. And just because I ain't saying, boy, get your butt over here, and I'm saying, sweetie, what's wrong, buddy? And all that doesn't mean I'm being white. It just means I'm trying to talk to my son in a nurturing, sweet tone that I feel like I don't have to handle him like a street nigga. You know what I'm saying? Somebody off the street, or my partner or my girlfriend. Like, I'm not going to... Code switching is nothing wrong with it, because honestly, there's different strokes for different folks. You have to change up your tone to cater to different audiences, and that's the gift that we have by being such mutable and adaptable people. Use that as a gift and not as, reframe it. I know where the roots of it comes from, because when the master would come around, we would have to switch up and speak in code, and so they would know what we was talking about. And and when we're trying to get these jobs, we may have to put on our little a little more articulate voice. These are gifts that we have that make us who we are today and why we have survived so long. But yeah, so it's like, give them that positive reinforcement. We got the pot, and it came with a sticker chart, and I reprinted more sticker charts. All you gotta do is pull them up on Google and print them out if you have a printer or library or whatever. And every time he would finish a row of stickers, he would get like either a little piece of a chocolate, a couple chocolate chips. It doesn't have to be a whole Snickers. Like, I used to break a Kit Kat in half. I was breaking that, and I give him that, or I give him or I'd be like, hey, so you want to go? And we go to the dollar store. Kids don't need no expensive stuff. They're gonna throw these toys away. You can go to Goodwill and get a full blown name brand nice toy with batteries and everything. $2. You know what I'm saying? Like, let them go and pick out something. A lot of times we let this materialism and this consumeristic type of culture we have get in our heads, and like not understand that kids are more connected to spirit than anything. And when I say connected to spirit, I mean like they're more connected to how things make them feel versus how the ego makes us, and the mind wants us to get something based on the price value or the name or the labeling. They're not so indoctrinated with that type of way of being, even though certain media platforms, and they want to bombard our children with so many toys and conditioning with that too. But you just got to know that the simplest things. How many times have you bought a child a toy and they play with the box? Because they don't need all of that. Seriously. Like, I ain't saying don't buy your kids no toys, but I'm just saying, no, everything is a balance, and you don't have to break the bank to bring joy to a child. But yeah, so with the little, me and my husband working together, not rushing him, letting him show us the signs, and waking up with dry diapers, and behind the potty, giving him positive reinforcement. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. You're doing a great job. You're a big boy. Getting him the big boy underwear that he likes. Sometimes going free balling, like no diaper, nothing, just walking around the house, so that he knows like it's a little more uncomfortable. I can't really pee on myself or poop on myself. Setting out 3 days, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever works with your work schedule, like 3 consecutive days where you're going to work. And I would suggest all of you moms out there or dads who are trying to potty train your sons, look up the 3-day potty training thing. And, dads sometimes take your son to the bathroom and show him how to do it. But sometimes they may not do it well standing up at first. And that's okay. You can always transition from sitting to standing, because when you poop, you got to sit down and pee like that anyway. But this is for all my boy moms. But, just in general, these little potties that you press the flush button and the little cheers button, that's a good toy. They have them for boys and girls, and, But yeah, so all of that cultivated something. And now I'm going to celebrate. We're celebrating how proud we are of our son. And we're going to, get him some I may make some little nachos, burgers, chili dogs, whatever. And have some chips and cupcakes and and bubbles and the little cheap pools you buy at Walmart. You fill it with water and some little water toys and let him just play. Like, let him celebrate that you should celebrate the little wins as parents. Know that you're doing something right and constantly remind yourself that you're raising these beautiful young minds and children with the most positivity you can, despite the circumstances you're in. Letting them know how proud you are of them, how powerful they are, how talented and skillful and creative they are. Constantly give them these affirmations every single day. Naturally, you don't have to just stand up in the mirror and say, we're going to go down the list, which is fine because I've done it that way too. But just naturally, wow, I'm so proud of you, buddy, that was really creative, or good job, sweetheart, or that was really intuitive, and not just good job all the time. Find other creative ways, or, oh, wow, that was really creative, or that was really intuitive. A lot of times we sell our children short and we don't realize how smart they are, and we talk to them in baby way or simple way. No, these children are sponges of knowledge. Pour into them. Pour into them. They're like a seed. Everything that you love is like a seed, and you have to give it nurturing, love, attention in order for it to grow and flourish. But that's all I want to say. Just my proud parent moment, proud mom moment of my son and being potty trained. And I'm going to throw him a potty party. Guys, think about it. It's a new little thing. I'm trying to start now. But all right. Love you guys. Peace out. So post potty party recap. It was a great turnout. Went to Family Dollar, got some little water toys. My cousin, I used her blow up pool. We had a little slip and slide. I got that from the Family Dollar that you put the water hose to it and you just slip and slide. I'm gonna tell you right now, put some kind of baby oil or something on your body, cause you gonna I don't know. Just put some on that to make you slip. Anyway, the kids had a blast. They loved the pool, and I had like little drinks and fruit snacks and nachos, pizza, chips. It was a very, just simple, like not too much, not too crazy. Bubbles, and my son loved it. And my sisters got him a couple outfits and some underwear, some little cool underwear to keep him motivated, and it was a great turnout. And guess what? He ended up having an accident, a poop one at that, and I had to throw away his swim diaper. But did I get embarrassed? No, because I'm like, this is what I say. It's like, because I say he's potty trained does not mean accidents are not going to still happen. And I talked about this before. Like, we have so many pressures to be perfect that we think success or having a skill set or having a knowledge or having a training means no mistakes, no mess ups, no accidents. No, we are human, and we can't forget that. It's not an excuse, but it's just reality. But yeah, so, and I even made it known. I was like, look at this potty party, and I had an accident. It made it laugh. Sometimes you gotta laugh about the stuff. But one of the biggest takeaways I had from it, like overview, like after everything was gone, and I started thinking about the day. I started thinking about how rest is something that is necessary. It's transformative. It's for the people who like the spiritual jargon. It's alchemy. It's you transmute the energies, or you allow yourself to rejuvenate. It's and it's needed. It's something that I feel like a lot of us, especially the moms and the multitasking mindset, we constantly are moving, and sometimes we're moving because we're trying to stay out of our head, which is cool, but do it to calm the anxiety, but still you can become the observer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still be like doing what you do and calming your body and calming your system while you still observe yourself. It's a form of active meditation. But and I'm going to talk about that later on in another episode. But yeah, so rest is something that we have to practice sometimes, and that we have to incorporate into our regimen or routine. It needs to be something that is incorporated. Just like you take your multivitamin, just like you do this or do that, rest is important. And I stress that to my son. I stress a lot of things to him because I know it's going to be embedded in his mind, and he knows, rest is important. different things. Sometimes people get sick. Sometimes you're sad. Sometimes you're mad. These are like essential things. So it doesn't give him anxiety. And he knows that this is part of human nature. Human nature needs to be more taught so that people don't get so much anxiety. And we need to normalize normal reality. But yeah, that was just one of my biggest takeaways, and how much I love spending time with my family, sisters, mom, cousin, dad, and Papa say today because we couldn't get that thing off of that hose, but he came and he did his thing. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that recap with you guys, and just do little things for your kids. Celebrate every little win. It's all about the journey, but we got to celebrate the little wins. That's what matters most in their lives. Every win is one step closer to their destination, but it is a journey, like I said. So you got to remember, stopping to smell the roses is part of the journey. All the little pit stops, all the flat tires, all of the restroom breaks. I'm using analogies, by the way. It's just part of the ins and outs of life and the journey. And you can have multiple goals within that journey, multiple destinations within that journey, and make the little steps or the plans to get to each destination, each pit stop. But all right, guys, that's all. Rise and shine your light and opulence, solution seekers. It's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you with another word, message, bottle wisdom, whatever you want to call it. So today, this message is going to be more on the parenting side, and it's for all those parents who just are very hard on themselves. So before I even get into it, give yourself grace, because I remember when I first started getting messages and listening to people speak on different things and that such, when I was, ready to make changes and change generational patterns and thought processes and whatnot, it could become a little overwhelming. So that is not my intention. My intention is to just plant the seeds and, for you to water them as you go, and to harvest those crops where you feel like it's time and you're ready. And so basically, this kind of goes back, just to bring awareness that studies have shown that children absorb information more when they're it's going to be weird, but when they eavesdropping, when they overhear you saying stuff, say it's, and I learned this from Dr. Judy DeGroy, I believe that's her name. She wrote Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, that book. And so she talks about it, the black mom goes to talk to the teacher, right? And she's saying or she's talking to the white mom. And then the white mom's like, oh yeah, your son, so, the black mom tells the white mom, your son's so smart. And she's like, oh yeah, he does this, and this, and he's this and this activity and that activity. And then the white mom says, well, your son actually is even smarter, or even smart as well. She's like, yeah, but girl, he do this and he do this too, and he get into this trouble, and so that little black boy sitting at the table, next to him a little bit back, he's overhearing all of these, negative things, and not seeing that his mom has deflected, or not necessarily deflected, but has not taken the compliment. Because she couldn't take that compliment, she had to create some other things to humble herself or humble her child, and make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm not this or not that, but really just it's showing a lack of confidence, because you wanted to seem like you were humble and not, stuck up, arrogant, or whatever you may have felt. And also she equated that to, in slavery, that is a way that mothers try to make their kids seem less valuable, so that they wouldn't be taken away, so they wouldn't be worked harder. So it's kind of it goes with that strong black woman, strong black man narrative too. A lot of times when you have that attachment or that label attached to you, you get used, you get put more work on. It puts this big sign on your back or your forehead that's saying, I'm strong and skilled, so use me for all that I can, because I'm strong, so to counteract that, people create they act like they're not. So it's just, but basically the point is that child overhears that, and he don't absorb the fact that, the lady said that he was smart. He absorbs the fact that his mom did not allow him to get his flowers and that glory in that compliment, and she downplayed it, and she no, not subconsciously. Like she wasn't trying to harm her son, but she thought she was doing it from a good place because there is that deeply rooted conditioning that travels all the way from the way we've been experienced life in this world, you know what I mean, in America, whatever. And so it just goes to show you that be careful what you say around your child, because even though your thought process may still hold a lot of wounds and a lot of complexes and a lot of narratives, they start picking up and creating these narratives at a very young age. From birth to 7 years old, their mind is like in a hypnosis state where they're absorbing everything. They're creating their own sets of beliefs. They're creating a foundation that they're going to be operating out of for the rest of their life. And not to say that this cannot be reprogrammed or shifted or anything. And it's just to be more aware and consciously aware of what you're instilling into your child, whether passively or actively. Like, you may not realize it. Like, for example, I understand that I carry a lot of victim mentality and a lot of mindsets around, with that activist spirit I have, that the world isn't fair for Black people and this and that. And whether that be true or not, it already establishes a very deep sense of defeat, a very deep sense of frustration, anger, rage. And for some people, they have a competitive spirit where they thrive and feed off of adversity, and they use it as fuel. They use it as a means to defy the odds. Some people have that naturally, and some people are just get defeated by it and depressed by it. And so you don't know what spirit your child is going to tap into. So for the sake of their spirit being uplifted or stay in a state of, don't put your experience and how you perceive the experience onto them. So just for example, we went to a little trunk or treat yesterday, and it was attached to a cultural event that's, that wasn't, associated with, African American, but it was a cultural event. And I noticed I was just like getting irritated because all the freaking lines to all these trunks were like so long. And we was waiting in line for like 15 minutes. You get up there, they give you one or two pieces of candy. And then I'm looking around at some other people. I'm like, bro, they giving handfuls of candy to each of these kids, and you giving me one or two. It's just like that thought started coming up again. That voice started coming in again. Like, bro, there you go. You always getting the short end of the stick. You always getting the bad luck. You always, all this stuff is just pissing me off and making me more and more and more angry. And like, oh, I see they giving the kids of this race more candy. And then they turn the other little Black kids around saying, oh no, we're done. And this and that. And then there goes that voice that creeps in about like, oh yeah, there go to racism, there go to prejudice, or all these narratives start just coming up and coming up and coming up. And it started stealing the joy from me. It started stealing my presence within this whole event. The purpose for me to take my child was for him to have fun, was for him to engage, and was for me to, relax and be this engaged and active mom with my son's younger years. Something that, I pride myself in wanting to have this life work balance. And so I had to come back to it and be like, what was the purpose of this event? What was the intention? For him to have fun. Is he having fun? Yes. So even if he is getting one or two candies, he doesn't mind. He doesn't feel the same way I feel. He's not feeling like even though he did say it's a long line. But after that, he let it go, and he just, he got his little candy. He was good. Even if it was one or two, he was good. Like, he didn't think like, I don't have a lot of candy, or they gave them more. He didn't feel that way. And if I would have started putting my feelings and emotions and thoughts onto him, that would have stole his joy. And a lot of times we steal our child's joy when we start putting the way we see the world and life onto them too early. And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of this activism and a lot of the, social justice and political mindset and racial awareness or racism awareness we put on our kids is still in a joy. You don't want to program with, oh, you gonna have to, there's all how they do these white folks out here. It's gonna be little white kids. They gonna treat you bad because you Black and oh yeah, well, you gonna have to work harder. Oh, and to make sure he only 4 years old, make sure you don't cut up, because if a cop come, they gonna put you out on the ground before they put the white folks on the ground. And they giving all the little white kids all this candy. They ain't giving them none. Even if I'm talking to another parent, all this stuff that you saying either directly to them or around them, you're creating narratives that have them in, like, you got to ask yourself, what is this mindset going to do to this child? Whether they wake up, grow up, and they have this, it's not about being gullible or naive, but if they have this more positive perspective on life, then they're going to be able to achieve more. But the more and more we beat them down with these negative narratives, yes, there is racism in this world. Yes, a lot of us are conditioned with these unconscious biases and these prejudices and these stereotypes, but that doesn't have to be something that affects him. It affects you when you start putting it in your mind and telling them this is going to affect you. But when that's a limited mindset, that's a limited belief system. But when you tell a child, no matter what, you can defeat the odds. When you can tell a child that they can be whatever they want, they can achieve anything they put their mind to, then those are the mindsets you need to establish. It doesn't mean don't establish them to have a strong confidence and self-love and, be happy that they're a young king, a strong black boy and a strong black girl, whatever it is, or a princess or queen or goddess, whatever it is that you help them build their sense of confidence and sense of self. You don't have to do that by telling them to do this to defeat racism. When the foundation is strong enough, it's going to defeat it on its own, because no matter what's going on around them on the outside, the inside is stable and strong enough to withstand that. So that's just something I was thinking about as well. And so, yeah, and then I was just kind of reflecting on, my perfectionism and like how, as a mom and dad or parent, whatever, we a lot of times harbor a lot of guilt and overwhelm. Like they had Red Ribbon Week and today was Camo Day, but I didn't look at my little screenshot that showed me. And so I was like, rushing, trying to get the book character shirt. He didn't have one that was long sleeve. It was cold. So I just say, your shirt got a book character on it and your shoes got a book character on it. So if they ask you, that's what it is. But come to find out, it was Camo Day. So after I had dropped them off, I was so pissed and I was beating myself up about it and this and that. And I was like, you have to relax. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. You're not going to get everything right every time. Bro, when I tell you I was thinking of scenarios of going back and change them in the bathroom and all this other stuff, all because I forgot I didn't get the day right and I put him on this shirt instead of that shirt. And it's like, these are the things that we got to give ourselves grace for as a parent. And I know I'm not the only parent out here who kind of like is very hard on themselves, beat themselves up, has this perfectionism, has this inner voice that's always, trying to defeat them down. But the growth comes when you have that awareness and you can stop that voice. Because when I was at that trunk or treat, at one point I say, you just got to stop. Just look at him. He's smiling. He's running. He's playing around. See him for that. Don't see him for... And I was getting so irritated. Stop doing this. Doing this. All these things. And I was like, bro, you're not doing what you came here to do. You turning something that's supposed to be fun into something that's becoming miserable. So I was like, let me let go. And then after I quieted that voice, I was able to focus and concentrate. I just made a post about the key to success and discipline or whatever. But a lot of times it's about quieting that voice. When things happen in life, it triggers those thoughts, it triggers those feelings, it triggers those emotions, becoming this trickle-down effect that does nothing for us but create more obstacles and roadblocks and adversity, becoming this vicious cycle. So you have to try to figure out ways to overpower that and quiet that voice. So the voice that actually motivates you and uplifts you and empowers you starts to rise up and takes the driver's seat again. Like I said, you are the driver. Your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, those are backseat passengers. Those are like music on a radio station. You could turn the station when you're tired of listening to that same old sad song. Because at the end of the day, you still got to get to where you're going. And this song is not going to change whether you can get there or not. All it's going to do is affect your mood. And you're going to have to do something about that. Because do you want this trip and this journey to be a miserable one, or do you want it to be as joyful as possible? So you have to start to change the company you keep. And that company you keep is also within you. You got to know what voices you allow to actually have a platform to speak, and which ones you tell, nah, bro, you got to keep, you can sit this one out. You can't accompany me. You don't get a chance to talk, because every time you talk, I get to feeling this way. And every time I get to feeling this way, I don't do what I set out to do. So I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to do that with yourself. It's nothing wrong with talking to yourself and getting yourself back to a place of of peace and balance and grace. But yeah, that's all I want to kind of talk about. So just be aware of what you program your child and instill in your child and program within your child, because it will create narratives. You have to ask yourself what kind of narratives you want your child to have. You want them to have a mindset that no matter what, they're going to always win. No matter what, they're not going to give up. No matter what, they're going to persevere. No weapons formed against them can prosper. In the name of Jesus, amen. But as always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out.